Okay, friends, good morning. So today we will see a very important transformation called groupByKey. So far, we have seen HDFS, MapReduce, and also we have seen a Spark in detail with Scala, and also a little bit with Python. But the main focus is on the transformations and actions of Spark in those programming languages. The main focus is not on the programming languages. Instead, it's only how to use the APIs within Scala or Python. And a few people have expressed apprehensions because they are not very good at programming. So compared to typical application developer, you don't need to have very extensive programming skills. Okay, so if you are familiar with scripting, or if you are comfortable in understanding transformations and applying those rules as part of the programming, that is more than enough. At the same time, you need to have little bit of knowledge on important topics of a programming language, such as collections. If you learn collections, if you learn transformations and actions, and if you practice about how to use those things effectively, that is more than enough in most of the cases. You don't need to worry about object-oriented concepts and all those things for the data engineer uh, role. If you are an application developer and if you want to build Scala-based applications or Python-based applications, it's a different story. You need to understand the programming language from a different perspective. Here, our main aim is to become big data engineers. Hardly there are 20-25 transformations. You have to master those things over time, and you should be able to use those things in programming languages. On top of that, I forgot. Sorry. So on top of these transformations and actions, you also need to be familiar with SQL. And in most of the cases, whatever we are trying to do, such as joins, aggregations, etc., most of these things can be done using SQL also. And we will see that as part of data frames, which I'll be covering later. It's part of big data engineer immersion course. When we go to the data frames, if you are familiar with SQL, you can apply a lot of transformation rules using SQL itself. You don't need to even use Spark-based APIs. But at the same time, you have to understand the APIs, so that if you want to implement those transformations which are not available with SQL, you should be able to do those things. Okay, so that being said, today first we will start with Python, using groupByKey in Python. Then we will also see using Scala, because few folks have asked about how to implement it in Scala. So I thought of explaining that as part of Scala as well. So here we'll be using the products data set to let me. We'll be using products data set, and we will try to use the groupByKey, and also we will call him. We will create a stored procedure where the ranking is implemented. Means we will create a function where the ranking is implemented, and we will also invoke that. So let's start with that. So first thing, what we need to do, we have to read the products data set from the uh, from HDFS, and our requirement is to get the ranking within each category. What are the top 3 priced products or top 5 priced products? That is the requirement. So here I am connecting to our CloudX Lab cluster. Launching PySpark. Okay. So first we will try to read the products data set. Always make sure that there are no typos, because the path is hard coded, and immediately validate that it is actually giving the correct, it actually reading the correct data set. One of the ways is to use take and read few records. So let me do that. For I in products dot take of 10. we can see the data, and then we will extract the key. Our key is nothing but product category ID, because we want to group by product category ID, and within each product category I want to get top and priced products. Okay, so product category ID is the second column in the data set. That's why I am splitting by delimiter and accessing the second value, and then typecasting to integer. Okay, so that will be the key, and the record will be the value. For each row you will get the product category ID and the complete record. I have explained already, so I'm not spending too much time over there in the explanation. And then group by key, and as I have shown yesterday, when we try to read this data, okay, I have to say for in, take off 10. You can see that for each product category, we got all the records grouped, and the group is iterable, which means it is a list or an array. So we can apply all the Python-based list operations on that, and we can do whatever we want. So using this one, now I want to create a function where I can get the top n priced products. When I say top n priced products, if there are if I pass the ranking, means the n as the parameter. If I pass 3 as parameter, I should get top 3 priced products. If there are 100 of them, we should get 100. If there are 5 of them, we should get 5. So that is the requirement. That is the problem statement. So now, so this is the function. I will explain it in a moment. So first, this is the function specification. It takes 2 parameters, and here, as I have mentioned to you, in Python, you don't need to specify the data types anywhere. Okay, and based upon what you are passing as parameter, you have to process that. So for example, when you are trying to process the data, either you can pass the entire record as the parameter, or you can pass only the collection as the parameter in flat map or map. Yesterday we have seen, I have created a simple group by sorting function where I just sort the data and then return the data. I have explained, if it is a flat map, the behavior will be a little bit different. If it is a map, the means if you are trying to invoke this function from flat map, the behavior will be a little bit different. If you invoke it from map, the behavior will be a little bit different. And also based upon the parameter you are passing, because there is no data type specified, people tend to confuse how to develop the Python programming, especially if they have experience with other programming languages. So in this case, you need to understand how you will be invoking, not only how you will be invoking it, and what you also need to understand what how the parameters are being used to invoke. Not only how the function is invoked, whether it is invoked from flat map or map, but also you need to understand what type of parameters are being passed. Okay, in this case, the parameter was the complete record, and we want to sort only the collection, which is the value in the tuple. Ignore the first one, which is the key. Sort the data, and then we are returning the sorted data, which is nothing but the sorted collection out of each key, and we have returned it in a loop because we want to invoke it in the flat map. So same thing, you need to follow that rule. Okay, so here in this case, I want to pass the entire record in flat map as a parameter. So we will try to build the code based on that assumption that the record is nothing but a tuple, the key is the product category ID, and the value is the collection or group of products which falls under that product category ID. Okay, so here these are all several variables which are being initialized. I will explain each one of them. Okay, so the first one is x. I just name it as x. if you look into this logic, what I'm trying to do is this one um, will be the variable which will have the top and priced products. Okay, so this one will be the final collection which we will iterate through and return all the elements when we actually invoke using the flat map. And this one, so first to let me open another window and let me try to explain. Okay. So this sorry, this function will be invoked using a record which will have, means if you have using a map or flat map on an RDD. If there are 10 records in RDD, this function will be invoked 10 times, and each time you will get the entire record as the parameter. Okay, let's ignore the key and let's take the value. Value is nothing but a collection. And as I have explained yesterday, let's say I created a collection equal to let me remove the spaces. Okay, these are the types of records which it will have. Means there are many other parameters, but let's assume that these are the ones which we will be using. Okay. I'm generating some test data so that I can explain it. So here, let's say we want to sort it. Sorry, let's say this is the product category ID, which is 2. Actually, I have to modify a little bit. Second one, this is third one, fourth one, one. Okay. So the first element in each of the record is similar to product ID. Second element is product category ID. So under 2 we have 1, 2, and 5. Under 3 we have product ID 3, product ID 4, and product ID 6. Okay. So now if I want to get top 2 priced products, here there are no duplicates, or even let's assume that there is a duplicate also. Let me add one more thing. In this case, sorry, 7, 3. I'm adding one more record so that we have all the test cases covered. So if you look at 3, we have 4 records. One is product ID 3 with the price 5, then product ID 4 with price 7, and product ID 6 and 7 with price 6. So if I ask for top 2 priced products, then I should get 4, 6, and 7. 3, it should result in 3 records. So to extract the top and priced products, first we need to identify what are top priced products, top 2 prices, and we have to store it in a collection, and we have to look up into that. So in this case, we have to extract the top 2 prices for each and every category ID. So for 3, it should be 6 and 7, and we have to store it in a collection. So that's for that reason we have this top n prices. Okay, it will have what are the top 10 prices which are passed as parameters. So in this case, if we pass it as 2, this top 2 prices um, for 3 should have 6 and 7, and then we can look up into that, and for that product category ID, whatever record matches with the top two priced products, we should return those things. Okay, so that is the purpose of top n prices. And then product prices, we will try to capture all the product prices, and then we will sort in the descending order. So I just added this to complement my overall logic, especially these two is to just complement my overall logic. Okay, you will understand why I'm doing that. Okay, so now what I'm trying to do is uh, I'm extracting all the product prices. Okay, and I'm storing it in array so that I can sort in ascending or descending order the way I want and get top prices. Okay, so this logic is doing nothing but I'm extracting all the product prices in the array. So in this case, I will pass 2 as parameter. So for product category ID 2, the product prices will have 3 and 2. It will loop in a proper order, and you will see 3 and 2. Similarly, for product category ID 3, it will have 5, 7, 6, 6 with the duplicates. Okay. So here I am adding those 2 lines, which will only capture the product prices into a list. What is that list? The product prices list. So this list will have all the product prices. So I will directly type it here, product prices for for one of the iterations. I'm not going to show all the iterations. For one of the iterations, especially for 3, it will have 5, 7, 6, 6. Okay, so that is what product prices logic is. I'm just applying the split logic. So here you can see rec of 1 represents the collection, and I'm looping through the collection. Okay, and then as part of the for loop, I am splitting by comma as delimiter, and my 5th element is product price. So I'm trying to extract the product price. Because my record is string type, I'm applying the float function, and then the append is the function on a collection or array or list in Python. So I'm using that append function to append all the elements to the product prices. Okay, so now if I want to add one more, I can just say prod prices dot append, and I can say 8. Tuple object has no, okay, it is created as tuple. Sorry. So what I have to do is I have to create it as a list. Now it will work. Now if I say prod prices, I will see 5 records. So in each iteration, I'm trying to build the prod prices for the prod category ID. Okay, if I have 10 records in a prod category ID, I'm extracting all the prices and storing it in prod prices. Now I want to sort all these product prices in descending order so that I can fetch top 2 prices or top 3 prices from the list. Okay, so the logic which I will be using, again, I'm using the collections, the APIs related to collections in Python. So first I'm creating the set. What set will do is it will actually eliminate the duplicates. So here you can see it here. Set of prod prices will actually eliminate the duplicates, but the order is not guaranteed. To order the data, we can use sorted, and we want it in descending order. So we can pass the parameter called reverse equal to true, and we can actually sort the data in reverse order. Now you can see that data is sorted in reverse order 8, 7, 6, and 5. Now I want to get the now I want to get the top prices. So to get the top prices, first I want to create it into a list, and there is a API called there is a package called iter tools in Python. So you can import that iter tools, and you can use a function called iter tools.islice to get top end products. Okay, so top end prices in this case. So so this will actually create the list in descending order, and we are assigning it to a parameter. Sorry, variable prod prices descending. So prod prices descending is to just store the product prices in the descending order. Okay, and then we have to import iter tools. It's an package. The indentation is very important because there is no loop or any other. So syntactically, this is correct, but I have used indentation uh, without being part of any scope, neither if nor for nor while. I just typed a single line of code with indentation and immediately it failed. So if you are using Python, you have to be extremely careful with the indentations. And in these cases, the error can be obvious. But when you actually write complex applications, if you forget to indent properly some of the lines in the code, then instead of those lines of code, instead of becoming part of one scope, it can become part of some other scope, and it can cause issues when you actually run the application, and it will be very tough to troubleshoot. So you have to be extremely careful while writing programs in Python. Okay, now we can actually apply this logic. I will explain the logic in a moment. Okay, in this case, I want to get 2. Okay, because I want to pass the parameter about how many top prices I want to extract. So if when you are actually looking for top 5 prices, top 5 priced products, that means you have to get first top 5 products, and then you have to look up into that collection, iterating again. So what islice will do is it will starting from the first element in the list, it will try to extract as many number of records we want. As the list is already sorted, we can apply islice on that, and we can slice our list the way we want. Okay, so let me show you by running this one. Okay, but iter tools.islice will create an object which can be converted as a list. That's why we are using list here. Okay, so prod prices description, it has 8, 7, 6, 5 in descending order. And now if I paste this one, it is getting the top 2 prices from that list. Because it is already sorted, we can use islice. If you use islice directly, you will not get the top 2 priced products or top end priced products. So you have to understand the flow. So what we have done, first we have created the set to eliminate the duplicates. Then we have applied the sorted function to sort the data in descending order, and then converted that into a list. And on that list, we have used iter tools.islice, which is an API to slice the list the way we want. We want to get, starting from the first element, we want to get the top and priced products. So hence we are passing it as 0. If we pass it as 1, it will give 7 and 6 here. Okay, it only gives 7. Yeah, that's correct. So the 0 is the index from where you want to display. So it will extract. Islice will extract as many elements as you want as part of the second parameter. But the first element will tell from which element you want to retrieve. In this case, if I say 0, it will start from 0 and then get all the elements in that slice. If I say 1, it will say it will get the element from the second element in the slice. Okay, I do not understand debug. We can discuss about it later. So this is how you can actually get the slice out of the list. For our purpose, we have to use 0 because we want to get top prices so that we can compute top n prices based on that list. Now, what we can do, we can iterate through the original data. So our original data is this one. We can iterate through this original data for each key. So for the key 3, we can iterate through all the elements related to the 3, which are these two and these two, and have a lookup, extract the price from those records, have a lookup into top and priced products. If the if the record's price falls under top and prices, then we will display. Otherwise, we will discard. That is the logic which we need to implement, and this for loop will take care of that. Okay, let me paste it here and then I will explain. So it will fail because top end prices. Why it is failing? Yeah, again I am actually using rec of 1 instead of rec of 1. I have to say call, which is the name of the collection I have given. But it will not work for me because we have both 2 and 3. Okay, for 2 and 3 we are supposed to invoke these things separately. Anyway, I will just explain the logic and we will apply it directly on the on our products group by key results. Okay, so here what I am trying to do, rec of 1 is nothing but the collection, and then I am applying the lambda function on it, and I am actually sorting the data in descending order so that I get all my products in descending order. Okay, it will from the collection I am sorting all the records in descending order so that we can display top and priced products in descending order. Okay, otherwise it will not display it need not display the top and priced products in descending order. To display top and price in descending order, I'm applying this logic. So first what I'm trying to do, rec of 1 represents the collection of all the products. I'm sorting all the products based on product price. So this one will make sure that our data is sorted in descending order by product price. Once the collection is sorted in descending order by product price, I am applying the lookup logic. So the collection is already sorted here. After the data is sorted, I am looping through using for loop. Okay, and in the for loop, I am actually applying the if condition to have a lookup into top n prices. So our top n prices have top 2 prices or top 3 prices, whatever the parameter we have passed, and then we are appending to a collection called x. Okay, when whichever falls in top n prices, we are appending it to the collection x, and then as a final step we are returning the collection because we want to invoke it in the flat map. So this is the logic which I want to implement, and here there is an indentation issue which I need to fix. The return should be indented because it's within the scope of def function. So make sure you indent properly when you copy paste. Here I have to say y for y in x. Now the function is created. Okay, again I will reiterate. We have initialized 4 parameters: top n prices to store the top n prices from the collection, prod prices to store all the product prices, prod prices description to store all the descending, which will actually sort the product prices in descending order and store. Then we are applying the logic to grab the top n prices and we are assigning it to top n prices, and then we are iterating through the collection again by sorting in descending order and doing the lookup into top n prices. Okay, and if you don't know these collections still you can implement, but you have to write at least 30-40 lines of code, and it could be buggy. So it's very important to understand the programming constructs such as collections, irrespective of the programming language you are trying to use. It will make your life a lot easier. Okay. And if you are not very comfortable with programming, most of these things can be achieved with SQL. But still, in extreme scenarios, you have to write the code. And whenever you have to write the code, unless you have the proper knowledge, your code will be ineffective or inefficient. Okay. So now we'll apply that function. So here, um, let us name it as products top 5 by category equal to, we already created this RDD by applying the group by function, so we will be using that one. In the flat map, we can only use flat map here. If you use map, you cannot return like this. We have to return the entire collection, and the entire collection will be displayed. But we want entire collection will be displayed as one record, but we want the flattened out records. That's why we are using flat map here. Sorry. So lambda rec, and here I want to invoke get top dense n rec, and I can pass the parameter. Let's say we want to pass 5. Okay, and that's it. So let us run this one. Okay, let me do it again. Probably the names could be something else. No, I use the same thing. Let me execute these things again. Okay, now let me now for the in products top 5 by category dot collect, I am displaying everything. Again, in the certifications, never use collect. It can run out of memory issues and it can cause some confusion to you. Only use take to preview the data. Here I want to show for different category IDs. That's why I'm using collect. You can see for product category ID 59, the top 5 prices are 100, 70, 69, 34, 32. It has given 6 actually. Why it has given 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means there is some issue with the logic. Hundred 70. Okay, I'm sorry. It's correct. It's only 500, 70, 69, 97, 34, 32. So there are 2 records with 32, and then bunch of records with 100. So we are seeing top 5 priced products for product category ID 59. Okay. This is how you have to write the more complex applications. Here we are trying to understand how group by works. Group by is primarily used for sorting, ranking, and other complex transformations by a key. Okay, such as product category ID in this case. In other scenarios, if you want to ranking by a day or by a store or by a state, etc., depending upon the dimension which you are trying to use, you have to use that as key, and within that key we have to sort the data. Okay, so any questions here? either on groupByKey or how to invoke the functions in Python, and the regular functions in Python from Spark-based APIs. Those two are the important things. If you don't understand this one, you have to just practice Python and to understand a little bit better. And when it comes to certification, you don't need to worry much about this one, because especially for CCA, even if they uh, even if they ask you to invoke a function, they will give the function. Most likely, they will give the function, and you just have to invoke the function. They don't try to test you to whether you know how to write Scala based functions or not. So in this entire stuff is Scala, nothing Spark in this. You can use this similar function even on the regular datasets in Scala. Okay, so they won't test on Scala in CCS, Spark, and Hadoop developer. They test on a Scala or Python. They test on Spark-based APIs, whether you are able to invoke Spark-based APIs or not using those programming languages. But there is a chance that they might ask you to invoke a function from an Spark API. So in this case, flatmap is a Spark API. Get top dense n is a regular Scala function, and they might ask you to invoke that get top dense n function as part of the certification exam. So make sure you understand what you understand the expectation from the certification point of view before giving the certification, and prepare based on that. Don't stress too much on writing complex Scala programs or Python programs if you are planning to give CCS, Spark, and Hadoop developer. If it is HDP CD Spark, which is again a subjective exam, there you have to choose one of the programming languages, either Python or Scala, and they will give the use case. Most likely, you have to write the complete program. There, you have to understand the programming language. The more knowledge you have towards the programming language, the better if you want to give Hortonworks data platform certified developer using Spark. Okay. So any questions here before we move on to Scala and demonstrate how this can be done in Scala also? Okay. Meanwhile, I will try to go to Scala here. So this is Python and this is Scala. So sorting and ranking by key is the section which you need to go. And this is how the program will look like in Scala. So I'm actually moving out now on Python and launching Spark Shell. Okay. So first we have to modify these 3 lines of code to Scala. Here we have to say val, 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 and here we have to use the lambda function like this. We cannot invoke at the casting like that. Instead, we have to do like this to int, and then the subscripts are circular brackets. Okay. So now we can actually paste these 3 lines of code. And now what we can do is we can actually iterate through take of 10. println. Now you can see that in Python it just showed as a iterable object. Here you can see that for each product category ID you can actually see the list also like this. Okay. So now you can see that data is randomly sorted based on the product price. This is 68, this is 99, this is 134.99, etc. And we want to get top five priced products, not top five products. Instead, we are trying to get top five priced products. There is a difference between top five products and top five priced products. Top five products need not be uh, top five priced products. Okay, there could be duplicates in that. In the top five products by price, the price can be duplicates in the top five. Whereas top five priced products, if there are duplicates also, we want to consider all those things and display those things. It's a little bit more complicated than top five products. And then here also we are using the same logic. Here, when it comes to Scala, you have to specify the data types, okay, for the parameters and also for the return. If you don't specify, then it will not work like Python. In Python, it's completely loosely typed. You cannot specify data types anywhere. You can cast using cast functions, but you cannot specify data types anywhere. Whereas in Scala, even though you don't need to specify the parameters, the data types, and even though it is not mandatory, if you want, you can specify, or you can, or in some cases, you have to specify. For example, I can say val I equal to 0, or I can also say val I int equal to 0. I can, if you want, we can specify data type. Sometimes it will inherit, sometimes it cannot, especially when the when it comes to the parameters and the return type. Hence, we have to specify the type for the parameters and the return type. This is very important. While creating the function, you need to understand what is the type of the parameter. What is the type of the parameter? So in this case, we want to define the function like this: def get top then send. Okay, so here also I'm opening two windows. I'm launching Spark Shell here. And let me copy only the first line to create the function. Okay, so here you can see that I am defining the parameter, the data type for parameter rec as a tuple of string and iterable string. So how to determine this? This is one of the complex ones while writing the Scala-based functions. You have to determine this based on the parameter which we are passing. We need to know what is the data type of the parameter which will be passing when we try to invoke this function, right? So again, here I am actually copy pasting these three. So this is what you have to use. Okay, so you can see that we, after applying the groupByKey, it is returning the RDD, and that RDD will have the elements of tuples. Each element will have a each element in RDD is a tuple with the first element as integer, which is nothing but product category ID, and the second element is nothing but a iterable string, which is nothing but the product records for each product category ID, which is nothing but a collection. Okay, so this is what you should use as the data type here, because that's what we want to use. So when I actually developed this one, I did not typecast the product category ID. That's why I was using string. Let's do this. Let us make it as integer. Okay, so it has to match with the parameter which we are passing. Otherwise, it will not. You will get some issues. You will get into some issues. Okay, so that's the specification of the function. So this is uh, till here we are done with the parameters. Okay, and then we have to define the return type. So this is the def function specification, the complete specification, which have the function name and the parameters. There are two parameters. One is record, and the other one is top end prices, top end priced products, which will be passed as parameter. And then return type. After ending the specification of the function, we have to give the return type. In our return type, we want to return the array of the records which fall in those top end priced products. That's why we are making it as iterable here, iterable of string, equal to these braces will start the scope of the function. Okay, again, this is little bit this is deviation from Java and other programming languages. You don't use equal to when you define the function. You directly give the return type before the function name, and then open the braces and you start it. Here it's a little bit different. You have to understand the syntax, and you have to use this syntax while writing the Scala based applications. Okay, and then we are creating three parameters. Okay, that when it comes to Spark Shell, sometimes it will keep on logging even though we are in the middle of the code. That is one drawback. So let's first develop on in the let me copy it into the Sublime text, and let me explain the Sublime text itself rather than using the Spark Shell. It can cause confusion if I try to explain the Spark Shell. Okay, so here we are creating three parameters, or we are initializing three variables. One is product prices, second one is top end prices, third one is sorted records. Okay, so product prices will have all the prices from all the from that list of each product category. So here you can see that I am iterating through the array, which is the second element in the tuple, which is this one. Let me change it to integer. So we are so this one is so rec is nothing but a tuple. Okay, first one is the product category ID. Second one is all the products in that category in an iterable. So rec dot underscore one will give this one. Rec dot underscore two will give this one. So this is what we are trying to do here. Rec dot underscore two will actually get the array. Because it's an array, I'm looping through using for loop, and I is each element. So I'm trying to invoke the logic of extracting the product price, okay, for each element, and then I am appending it to a list called product prices. So what I'm trying to do is, so I have where product prices, and it is a list of float, and I can say list of 5, 6, 7. Okay. Yeah. So for floats, by default, if you don't specify f, it will be considered as double. That's why it failed. So if I say f, it took as float values. And now you can see that this list have three elements. If I want to add a new element in Scala, it's a little bit unconventional. You never did that before in any programming language. So what you have to do is you have to say prod prices. First of all, you have to make it mutable, we have to use var. We should not use val here. And then you have to say colon plus, and you can add new element. In this case, I want to add 9. Okay. Now the product prices have 4 elements. If I say prod prices, okay, I have to assign it to it again. So prod prices, sorry, equal to prod prices. So this is how you actually append to the existing list. Okay, now if I say prod prices, it will show the 4 elements. Okay, so what I'm trying to do, I am actually iterating through the array using this for loop, and then I is nothing but the complete record. I dot split of comma, and the fourth subscript is nothing but the product price, and then I'm typecasting to float, and then I am appending it to product prices. Okay, and then I want to get top end prices. So to get the top end prices, you can apply distinct function on the list. So here you can say prod prices dot distinct. If there are duplicates, all the duplicates will be gone, and you will get a distinct list. And then you can apply sort by to sort the data in the order you want. Here you can apply a lambda function to sort in the order you want. Okay, here I want to sort in descending order. Now you can see that so this is the lambda function which is controlling how the data should be sorted. If I say negation of each of the element, it will sort the data in descending order. So that's what is happening here. And then there is a function called take. Okay, take is again a Scala based API here, and we can actually invoke that one and say 2 or 3, whatever number you want, and it only get top 2 prices or top 3 prices from the distinct sorted data. Or you can also say, I guess, product prices dot distinct top of 2. No, top is not a member of list. I think top is API on something else. I have gone through top some other time, but you can use take sort by and then take the way I have demonstrated here. Okay, I think top is it's okay. Don't worry too much about it. And then we are trying to sort all the records and create a new collection in which all the records are sorted in descending order. It's the same. It's the same as this one. Here we are applying in the for loop. We are trying to sort all the records in descending order. Instead, here we are actually creating a new variable. Rect._2 is nothing but the list which is passed as part of the parameter, the second element in the list in the tuple, which is nothing but a list that is passed as parameter. I'm converting into a list because the data type of it is iterable of string. So I'm collecting it into a list so that I can apply sort by API, and then I have applied the sort by API using by extracting the product price and negating it, so that we can sort all the records in descending order of the product price. So this is the logic which will actually sort all the records in descending order by product price. Now this logic is just to look up, iterating through all the records and do a lookup into the already created top end prices. Okay, and then at the end we are actually returning the collection by saying return X. And while iterating through the sorted records and looking up into the top end prices, we are creating a new collection which is called as X. If it falls under the top end prices, this will be appended, otherwise it will be ignored. and then at the end we are returning the collection. So we can create this function like this in Spark. So I have to say capital I, not small I. Okay, now the function is created. Now we have to invoke it. So the way we can invoke it is product group by category dot cat map rec, and the parameter we want to pass rec directly, and then I also want to pass top 3 or top 5. In this case, let me pass it as 3. Okay, then let me do collect for each println. We can copy paste this code, and you can see for product category ID 5 there are only 3 products in top 3 priced products, and the prices are 499, 299 and 209, and the other scenario is 43. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 records in top 3 priced products. 499, 99, 449, 99 one record, 399, 99 three records, and 349, 98 the third record. So we are seeing top 3 priced products when we pass 3 as parameter. If we pass 5 as parameter, we will see top 5 priced products. So this is how you can implement the functions in Scala and invoke those functions as part of Spark APIs if you try to develop Spark based applications using Scala as programming language. Okay, so we have seen how to invoke groupByKey by using both Python as well as Scala. Okay, that being said, we are done with this Spark, the core Spark. There is still some material on data frames and SQL in Spark, which I'll be covering a little bit later. Once we go through Scoop, Hive, etc., we will come back to Spark again, and we will touch base how to develop programs using data frames. And at that time, I will only showcase using Scala. I will not demonstrate using Spark. So if we go back to the Big Data Engineer Immersion course, as of now, we have completed how to set up the development environment, how to load data into HDFS using HDFS commands. Then we have seen Java MapReduce overview, and then we have covered these 3: Apache Spark getting started, Apache Spark with Scala, Apache Spark with Python. From next class, we will get into Scoop and Hive, and then we'll see HBase. After these 3, we'll come back to data frames, Scala, and then we will see Flume and Kafka, and then we will see overview of Fuzi and rest of the stuff. So we are almost halfway done. 4 more weeks, but we have these many things that needs to be covered. Out of the overall curriculum, Spark is the major portion. Spark is almost 35% of the 35% or 40% of the overall course. So we are in a good shape. We are within the scope of completing the course within 8 to 9 weeks. Okay, I will try to cover all these topics. That being said, we will wrap up quickly today because it's a logical stop. There is no point in starting with Hive and stopping in the middle and then starting in the next class. We will start Hive or Scoop, one of these 2, as part of the next class. If you have any question with respect to Spark, let me know. I hope everyone is practicing. If you do not practice, it will be tough. Okay, and one more thing is, I will try to cover what are the typical challenges people face when they try to give the certification, so that you know how to overcome those things. Okay, so when you actually go for the certification, you will get a desktop like this, remote desktop. You have to connect to a remote desktop. like this, and it will be typically using CentOS or Ubuntu. So it will be good if you are familiar, if you get familiar with this about how to increase the font and all those things, because a lot of people are complaining about the font and people struggle, and it will bring down the momentum significantly. So no, I will not explain how to work with XML files in Spark, because XML momentum have gone down significantly. If you have to use XML, you have to use Java based APIs. So you can invoke Java programs, Java based APIs in Scala. Yeah, and you have to. It's not primarily a Spark feature. It's more of parsing the data from the XML and making sense out of it. Yeah. So I will not be covering it to answer your question. And it's not very typical to process data in XML. More than XML, people focus on JSON. I will try to cover JSON over XML, because JSON is more common when it comes to big data technologies than XML, because XML is pretty heavy, because you have tag, opening tag and closing tag for each and every value, compared to JSON, where you have only the name of the column and the value. There will be no closing tag and opening tag for JSON. There will be only the name of the column for each and every record before the value of the before the value for that particular attribute. Hence, JSON is significantly lightweight. It takes a lot lesser storage, and it is more robust than XML, and it is a more modern way of representing the data. All the REST APIs and everything is being served using JSON. So it's better to understand and focus on JSON than XML. If you want to if you have to deal with XML on job, you have to learn at the time, and you have to deal with that. So I will not be covering XML as part of the course. Okay. So before you guys ask other questions, you guys can keep on asking the questions. Meanwhile, I will go through the environment, what you can expect and what type of challenges you can have, and how to change the how to increase the font. I think I'm not sure about Windows, but in Mac, if I have to increase the font of a window which is in the VM, I think I have to say Shift Control Plus. Yes, Shift Control Plus will zoom in. And then Control minus will zoom out. Most probably these are the commands even for Windows laptops. If you do the remote desktop, and if the terminal is like this, so this is one of the common complaint people give. And the font sizes are very small, whether it is in the browser or in the terminal. The font sizes are very small. I think even in Windows, if you have to zoom in a window within the VM. I'm talking about the VM or remote desktop. Okay, if you have to zoom in, you have to use Control plus. So Control plus is nothing but Shift equal to. So you have to use Control Shift that equal to our plus icon, plus button, and you can hit that one to zoom in up to the font you want. That applies even for the browser. Okay, now let's say it is like this. And if the things are not clear at the time of certification, better to zoom in by using Control Shift plus. You can zoom in as much as you want. And then one of the guy, he because he's not familiar with Linux, and most of you might not be familiar with Linux, so he thought he cannot open multiple terminals in the remote desktop. So he only used one to preview the. So the way Cloudera exams will work is, especially the Cloudera certification work is, they give a code snippet. Let's take an example here. So let's say this is the Scala program. Okay, so they will give like this, something like this. I'm assuming because I haven't given the exam. It's purely assumptions based on others' inputs. So here, so they might ask you to extract the product category ID, and then they might ask you to use group by key, and they might give the function like this, and then they might ask you to invoke that function. Let us leave this thing. Only thing is here we have to. They might ask you to extract the product category ID and also to apply the group by key API. Okay, so few guys, what means only 3 or 4 guys have acknowledged that they could not clear the certification, and these are the things which they typically face, even though they know the answers. Because of the environment, they lost the momentum, um, and uh, and they could not complete the certification within time. 3 or 4 in CCA, and then few folks in Hortonworks. Probably 6 or 7 people so far have acknowledged that they could not clear the certification primarily due to the environment. And this is the case with both Hortonworks as well as Cloudera certifications. So it's very important to understand these tricks so that you do not lose the momentum because of the fonts or something like that, or because of the lack of knowledge in Linux desktop environment. So whatever I'm showing is nothing but a CentOS desktop. They might give you Ubuntu desktop. Even in Ubuntu also, I think most of the shortcuts are same. Um, so don't need to worry about it. Most likely, Cloudera gives CentOS as per my knowledge, and Hortonworks gives Ubuntu desktop. Anyway, so you have a program already here, sparkdemo.scala. So what one of the guy have done is he opened the program, then he see that okay, we have to fill here, we have to apply the math function. Okay, and then he started applying the math function. He is not very comfortable with the syntax. He Because it's very tough for you to remember the syntax. You will have access to the material. You can open the browser and you can look at the material, but in the certification time, at the time of taking the certification, it can add a little bit of stress if you have to refer between documentation and here. So he is not 100% sure whether he is not doing correct or not. So he want to make sure he's doing correct. So he's coming out of the script, and then he started Spark shell like this. So there is no way now when I come out of it, the code is already gone, so I cannot copy paste anymore. Understand? So this is the a major issue for him, and he made a lot of mistakes and he failed. Even though he know the answers for most of the questions, he failed because he has to navigate between the code and the Spark shell. So what you have to do is, already there is a file sparkdemo.scala in a location. You need to understand that location. The location is typically the home directory. So you can open the computer here, or then move into the home directory, or you can see Cloudera's home here. Typically they will give home directory or some all the code files in home directory or some subdirectory in the home directory. So you can go to the home directory directly there, and you can see sparkdemo.scala here. They provide Sublime Text. If they provide Sublime Text, you can open with Sublime Text, or you can open with VI Improved, or you can open with gedit. You can open it with any of the editors that are available or they have provided to you as part of the certification. Now you have the code here, and you have the runtime environment here. So now I can copy paste these things directly. Okay, if you are not familiar with the shortcuts about copy paste, once you select this thing, you can go to edit, copy, and paste. Here the directory is not correct, so it will not work. The code will not, I mean, the execution will not work, because I'm not sure I have the retail DB on my virtual machine or not. But if I have the virtual machine, if I have the data in my virtual machine, all these code snippets will work. Then I'm not sure whether my I'm doing the map function correctly or not. Okay, but here I can actually start typing the code. This is VI improved, so I can actually use the VI commands. I will highly recommend, instead of VI improved, you go for some other application. So in this case, we have it here, right? So right click, open with other application, and there are many other applications using which you can open the files. So out of all the others, only gedit and vi are to open the text files. So gedit is a better editor compared to vi editor, because there is an escape mode, insert mode, you can use copy paste and all those things easily. So now I can copy this line and go here and paste it, and then I can start typing. Okay, and also the advantage of using Spark Shell instead of this one to validate the syntax is that you can autofill, especially with Scala. With Python, it is not possible, but with Scala, you can autofill, and then you can say rec equal to rec dot split for to float, and it is working. So what we can do? So they give up to here, and they might ask you to fill the rest of the stuff. You can copy this one and go here and paste it. Before you paste, make sure and paste it and save it. You can save it directly using Control S. Almost all Windows commands will work in the gedit or Sublime Text. Okay, so before you save it, it's better to preview saying take off 10 for each println, and you see exception because the path is not correct. Input path does not exist. Okay, now you can easily fix. Okay, there could be some issue here, so you can easily fix. So it's better to validate after each and every step, even at the time of certification. The main thing is you should be able to open the already provided code skeletons in better editors, and then I think even this one you can zoom in. Let me try. Now here this is not zooming in. If you want to zoom in, most likely it will be in edit or view. Somewhere it should have. Yeah, I think this is search for text, replace. Yeah, preferences, edit and then preferences. You can go to editor or font and colors, and then you can increase the font. Now it is increased. So typically the preferences will be under file or edit or tools. And for gedit, you can see it in the edit. Go to font and colors, and you can change the font here if you want to have a better um, font size to see the contents of the file. Okay, so these are the tricks which you need to understand. You have to familiarize with the environment because that guy have raised the concern because of the inappropriate font size for him. He could not clear the certification, and Cloudera came back saying that they can't help it because they have done a research, and based upon the most generic feedback they got from the people, they have used that resolution of keeping everyone in mind. Hence, if you have to write the certification as per your convenience, you need to understand how to use the environment effectively. And they have given the tips: use control plus to zoom in, control minus to zoom out, etc. And you need to understand the other important aspects also. So I recommend you to open the code skeletons using advanced text editors like this, and have a terminal opened. You can open as many terminals as you want, and then test each and every line before you save the Scala script. And then on top of this Scala script, there will be a shell script which will be running spark submit command, because you have to submit on the cluster. Once it is finally saved, you have to run that command, spark submit command, so that the program will execute this script and save the output in some location. Okay. That being said, if you have any questions, let me know. And make sure, if you are planning to give the certification, make sure to go through the FAQs of the corresponding certification about the environment, and then prepare based on that environment. If it is Ubuntu, please try to use Ubuntu even at least for a day, and try to get acclimated to the environment. If it is CentOS, try to get acclimated to CentOS environment before giving the certification. That will help you a lot in clearing the certification. Other than that, from the material perspective, if you are giving CCA, don't emphasize too much on Scala or Python as programming languages. Instead, focus on Spark APIs, and you should be able to use those Spark APIs in Scala-based applications or Python-based applications. They don't try to test you whether you know Scala or Python. They only test you whether you understand Spark APIs or not. That's it. So from that context, I have a lot more advanced content than the curriculum of CCA. When it comes to HDP CD Spark, yes, you need to get familiarized with the programming language, and the level of details which I am going through should be more than enough, even for HDP CD Spark exam. They don't go beyond that. They don't go beyond collections. They don't try to test you on object-oriented concepts and all. Okay, so any other question? Otherwise, we will wrap up for today. Thank you very much so far. I hope you are enjoying the course. If you have any issues, please raise the concern so that I can improvise on my future courses, so that I can give better value to the future students. And also, if you are not subscribed to my channel yet, please do so. I'm very close to 10,000 now. Probably in a day or two, there will be 10,000 subscribers to my channel. And I have 1,500 followers or group members in IT Varsity certifications, and most of them are IT professionals. You can be part of it, and you can ask any questions with respect to certifications in that, or you can also provide inputs to the other certification takers if you are already certified. And IT Varsity certifications is for all IT certifications, not just big data certifications. Okay. So any questions? It seems there are no questions. So we'll wrap up. If you have any questions, I will give 10 seconds. Just say that you have questions. And if I don't see any message, we will wrap up for today. Okay, then. Thank you very much and have a nice weekend. We will start with Scoop and Hive, very, very important topics, and completely different from what we have covered so far. And you will learn quite a bit in those also. That being said, thank you. Bye. So people who are on Hangouts, make sure you attend the classes from next week. I have stopped the WebEx session. Make sure you start attending the classes if you are interested. We will be talking about Hive and Scoop over next week. Primarily, we will try to cover both the topics. And then if you have any questions, even though I'm not answering or I'm not available to answer your questions as part of the live sessions, you can always send me an email, Make sure you become part of my LinkedIn groups, and also I have started Meetup, and I will be conducting a lot of online meetups. Try to be part of that so that you get invitation and you get reminders, and then we will take it from there. That being said, thank you very much for patiently listening to me for all the courses over time. If you like these videos, please click on the like button. If you want to provide the feedback, please use the comment section of the videos, and please follow me in the social networking platforms. You can see those details in the description. All the social networking platforms I am available. And if you want to discuss about big data or certifications, please join my LinkedIn group. There are two LinkedIn groups. One is IT Varsity certifications, and the other one is IT Varsity Big Data. Big Data is all about big data. IT Varsity certifications is all about certifications beyond big data. Okay. And if you are a student, please be part of Active Students group, and also please join my meetup group, and stay tuned for more advanced workshops in future. That being said, thank you very much. Bye.